Bienvenidos. Soy la Bruja Espinada, and I am here with a very special summer solstice reading. So let's get started. There's a lot of changes. Ooh, that was quick. Whew, and a lot of difficulty. We're starting off with the Page of Cups and the Eight of Swords. There's a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings, a lot of hurt that needs to be worked through. At the bottom of the deck we have, oh my goodness, we start with Death. Nothing bad, just a lot of change. The Queen of Swords, one of our reoccurring cards. The Eight of Cups, the Nine of Cups, the King of Wands, the Nine of Wands, Ace of Swords, the Knight of Wands, and the Moon. I'm going to stop here for now. There's another card that I think I'm going to draw, but we see how we will go as we progress through the reading. So, summer solstice. It is halfway through the year. This is a change of a season. We are starting a brand new season. Things are flourishing, things are vibrant, but despite all this vibrancy, clearly there's something that needs to be addressed. And that's shown here with these two cards. When we have the Page of Cups is someone that is learning to love themselves again. And the reason why I say this is at the bottom, we have the bunny and we have a red string. In many cultures, the red string is symbolism of connection. It is sometimes believed that two people that are meant to be in each other's lives, doesn't necessarily have to be romantic, but someone who's connected to another person, they are tied by a red string. And here we have a red string. We have the moon in the background. The bunny is typically associated with the moon, and the bunny is wrapping that red string around this young individual. Young individual is holding a cup. So there's been a lot of assessment in regards to emotions. There's been a lot that you've been dealing with. There's a lot that the feeling I get specifically from this Eight of Swords is a lot of the current struggle and feeling that you have right now has a lot to do with the feeling of just needing to survive, which is why this individual is wearing the carcass of a donkey. And that can be interpreted in many different ways. So someone that is typically, because a donkey is a work animal, they are not slaughtered for anything because of how many uses they may have. In this indication, it might be that this particular individual has given everything that they've had just to survive. And that might even be cutting away what they profit from because they need to survive. That's a very heavy sentiment, especially as we start a brand new summer season. But these are emotions that need to be dealt with. These are not easy emotions. But the struggle that's been coming on is bringing you to a point where you need to learn a new way in how to harness and deal with your emotions. And I don't mean deal like, okay, bite the bullet, get over it. No, that is not what I'm saying. The death, and the very first word that just popped into my mind when it came with death was your ego. Now, that's not saying that you can be a humble individual. That has not necessarily anything to do with the ego. The ego is, there is a persona that you are, that you've been working to be. And sometimes sometimes what needs to be overcome is the death of the ego. So the death of the ego is understanding that, and whatever archetype that you were or that you've been, because we aren't just one individual. We wear many masks. We wear masks when we go to work. We wear masks when we're out in public. We wear masks with our family, with a different mask with our friends. We're different people to different people, and we're even different people to ourselves, which is why there are instances where you might feel like, I was never that person. Why did they think of me that way, right? So it's attacking a part of your ego. The ego death means that that part of you that is suffering no longer is serving you. So like the donkey serves its master and it is now slaughtered just to survive, whatever ego mask that you've been wearing no longer is serving you. How are you going to make it work for you? You have to let it go. You have to let that ego die. That is the death that is coming. You are not that you anymore. You have to learn to embrace loving a brand new you, learning to become a brand new you. That's not saying that who you were wasn't good enough. No, it's just that that old you is not for you anymore. It's no longer serving you in your best interest. It is not for anyone else. It's not for anyone else to validate you. It's for you to validate you. And the reason why I know this is so is because then we're followed by the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords, look at her. And with any time, and honestly, with consecutive readings, we've had the King of Swords and the Queen of Swords, the ultimate sovereigns of the no bullshit. You need to cut the bullshit. Look at her. She's not playing games. She is here to tell you it's time to cut the BS. And and this is all tied with how you feel. And the reason why I know this is because we have a whole bunch of wands and we have a whole bunch of cups. Cups are your emotions. They're that intuition, that feeling that you want to be happy. You want to reach this 9 of Cups. You want to have this abundance, and the true joy is not just material, but genuine happiness, because this is the 9 of Cups. The 9 of Cups is that contentment, that feeling of being safe, not being thirsty. And I don't mean thirsty as in like thirsty. I mean thirsty as in you're not struggling to survive. You're not wandering the desert looking on how to survive. Everything that you will have in abundance will emotionally fulfill you. You will have emotional fulfillment, which is not what we all have. Some of us can have material wealth and still be depressed, because the question then becomes, is this truly what I need? And then there is no emotional fulfillment. So before the 9 of Cups, though, as we're saying, you need to cut the bullshit. You need to work on letting this ego, this old you die, this constantly struggling you come to pass. You have to embrace this change, this new love of who you're working to be, because we have the 8 of Cups right before the 9 of Cups. This is also because the 8 of Cups came out first and then the 9 of Cups. This is a progression. It's a baby steps, right? So when we have the 8 of Cups, as you see here, there is a palace, or what looks to be a palace. All these cups are here that are clearly been building up to ascertain the 9 of Cups. But this individual is walking towards the desert. They are facing the moon. There comes a time when you do have to take a step back. You have to go on that journey, which ties back to here. The 8 of Cups leads to the 9 of Cups. In order to reach the 8 of Cups, you must go on that journey to cut the bullshit and figure out what it is that you need to let go. So we come to the next card, which of course you're getting there. Okay, you're getting to that happiness, that emotional fulfillment that you've been working so hard to feel all this time. And we have the King of Wands. The King of Wands, as you see here, is represented by the phoenix. What do we know about the phoenix? The phoenix is a fiery bird that is known for the cycle of its life, because as it progresses, as it grows, once it reaches the maximum point of its life, it then dies within the ashes. An egg emerges and the cycle begins again, which is why the death card is here. This is a new cycle. Death is natural. Death is always occurring. Death does not necessarily mean physical death. But as I said, there is a semblance of death of ego. Ego is the key word here. Again, it's not saying that you're egotistical, but a part of you needs to be let go. You know what part of you needs to be let go. And if you don't know, if you're going to bullshit me and try to lie that you don't know, the part that needs to be let go, and I mean, if you sincerely don't know what I'm talking about, you really need to go on that journey and figure it out. Otherwise, you're going to keep reliving this cycle. And the King of Wands is here to tell you that it's time to end the cycle, that particular cycle, so that your new cycle can begin again. Mind you, we are in a brand new season, which is a perfect indicator of something new. We're progressing through the year. As the spring equinox comes, then comes the summer solstice. We lead into the fall equinox, and then we go into the winter. And the cycle begins again. As the winter progresses, that is a sign that, or as fall begins, there becomes the progression into the death of the season, where things go to sleep, and then what reemerges is what comes out in the spring. The cycle is inevitable. The cycle will happen. It depends on how you deal with it. Well, again, like I said, we have many cups. We also have many wands. The King of Wands is this reminder. You're working towards something great. You're ascending. The death of this ego, the journey to what your emotional fulfillment is going to be, the beauty of the hard work that you put into this change will actually put an end to a lot of difficulties that you've been dealing with. The Eight of Swords and the Nine of Wands, you've been dealing with a lot. You've dealt with a lot. This is the stuff of nightmares, right? Like, that's what it looks like, right? A lot of struggle, crazy dark things that emerge that you're tired of dealing with. But the fact of the matter is, it all comes around to light. We have the Ace of Swords, brand new beginning. And look at this knot. Look at this struggle. It can be easily cut away. So, much like with that Queen, it's that reminder, you just need to cut the bullshit. You need to have that effective communication. Learn how to communicate these things. So, as the summer solstice begins, it begins on the day that is the full moon. The full moon is when we typically would already put our manifestation practice into play. But it's also a perfect time to still set your intentions. When you wake up, you can start setting your intention of what you want to manifest, putting it into the it already exists verbalization, as I am happy, I am healthy, I am wealthy, just throwing that out there. I know that's a lot of focus for many people. I am you know, going to get this, I am getting this promotion. You know, it's the type of verbalization you're putting into it. But one other thing you can do is I overcame, put it in the past tense. I overcame the struggle. I learned how to release my ego. I learned how to cut the bullshit. I have found myself. I have achieved my emotional happiness. I have begun my new cycle. I have overcome my nightmares. I have learned to communicate what it is that you want. Because as this new cycle begins, you're leveling up. So we go from the Page of Cups to the Knight of Wands. New determination, new passion, this new sense of being able to conquer this. You've been through a lot of struggle before. It's very evident. It's not without being seen, without being acknowledged, right? But a lot of this makes you second guess yourself. It's normal. We, as humans, as creatures of this earth, learn from our mistakes, right? Or at least that's the idea. But sometimes we don't know or aren't taught how to seek another way. But that's why the Ace of Swords is here. That's why the Page of Cups is here. That's why the Knight of Wands is here. That thrive, it's the idea to thrive instead of just survive. And you will thrive. You will find your way to accomplish what it is that you want to accomplish, what it is that you need to accomplish. And that starts with beginning your journey and learning how to trust yourself. Learning to build that intuition. The moon. The moon has there's the moon and then there's water. So the moon and water have a very close connection if you have any familiarity with the tides and the moon and the pull that the gravitation of the moon has on the oceans. Your intuition has a lot to do with your emotions, and sometimes trauma can affect the way that your intuition works, because your fear as an innate object of your body, as an innate behavior, will sometimes try to protect you more than you understand, and that can overtake what your intuition can do. You have to be able to trust yourself to make that decision on whether or not you trust your intuition. And the reason why I know you struggle with this is because we have the Seven of Swords. The Seven of Swords is, as you can see, there's like a villain in the background. You've been hurt time and time again. Which is understandable, which is why you've been in situations like this, which is why you are truly afraid and have these nightmares, and which is why there's a part of you that you can't let go because it's always protected you. But living in fear is hindering you from trusting your intuition. And so I'm going to end with this card, the card that I did not expect to be behind the Seven of Swords, but it's very necessary. It's the Judgment card. So the Judgment card here is depicted by what looks to be a warrior monkey looking at the golden lotus. Judgment and intuition play a huge part with each other. So this fear, trusting your gut, has affected what you decide to do. When you It's just as I said, sometimes because of everything that you've been through, everything that you've experienced, you no longer trust yourself to make the right judgment call. And that has a lot to do with your intuition and your emotions. You don't want to be afraid. You don't want to feel sad. You don't want to feel hurt. You don't want to feel betrayed. You don't want to have any fear. You want to have emotional security. But you need to start that work. You need to let the cycle continue. Let the ego die. Let that old part of you. It got you to where you are. I'm not saying it's not good. Take that away from your mind, because a lot of people clench up like, I was never a bad person. I didn't deserve that. I agree. You're not a bad person. You didn't deserve that. But you were put in that situation and you continued in that situation, whether by choice or not. It served you well. Like a pair of shoes that you've worn out till it's talking to you, till it's got holes in its soles. They did you good for as long as they had to. Now it's time to invest in yourself in order to build that new you that you have been striving to be, but you're not letting yourself be. You gotta let the cycle complete itself. Gotta cut the bullshit, no excuses. Start, letting go of what you need to let go of. Learn the new methods of cutting that bullshit away. And build that trust and love within yourself to make the right judgment calls. To thrive, not just to survive. So, Divine Mothers, Divine Feminine, what lesson do you have to add to this reading? You have the Cosmic Egg. The Cosmic Egg, the Divine Feminine. I hold the universe within me. I am the force of an ever-expanding love. I've heard it said with this deck that if you ever get the Cosmic Egg, it's always like, oh my goodness. At least when I use this deck, I rarely have gotten the Cosmic Egg. I don't think I've ever gotten it, to be honest. So, let's find out more about the Cosmic Egg. The Cosmic Egg is the core symbol of Divine Feminine's creative force. It is a spiritual motif found in the creation myths of countless cultures and civilizations. It represents rebirth, a new beginning, or an expansion of life. In the Rig Veda, one of the oldest texts in any Indo-European language, the cosmos is described as a golden egg-shaped womb. The entire universe is said to have emerged from it. In Greek mythology, the Orphic egg hatched the primordial hermaphroditic deity who then created all the gods and goddesses. It is depicted as an egg with a serpent wrapped 3 times around it. In Egyptian, Chinese, and Polynesian mythologies, among many others, creation begins with an egg. And in the Christian tradition, Mary Magdalene used the egg to describe how life begins again after death. In modern cosmology, it is believed that 13 billion years ago, the entire mass of the universe was compressed into a gravitational singularity, the so-called Cosmic Egg. And from that singularity, the universe has expanded ever since to its current state and continues in this movement to expand even further. When your soul selects this card, nothing needs to happen. Everything is exactly as it should be. You hold the universe inside of you. All life emerges from within. If you try to exert pressure for something to exist before it's ready, that new life within you won't have time it needs to fully form. The cosmic egg is the essence of the divine feminine. It is the ultimate symbol of the creative force that exists within each one of us. It's the dark, loving womb that holds and protects all creative expressions of life. If we allow what's within us to emerge in divine timing, in kairos or soul time, it's what's within us will transform us. The egg is the trust that what is ours can never be taken from us. So there's no need to answer the ego's push to rush the process. That's for a select few of you. To impress others or to complete something on someone else's timeline. The egg is the faith that our process is sacred, that even in the midst of what looks like chaos or delay or even death, there's a tendril of new life that needs only our trust to eventually take form. And the egg is the knowing that life begins again after death from within. So, one thing to meditate on. Where am I ready to expand? So remember, I hold the universe within me. I am the force of an ever-expanding love. And we just talking about the phoenix. Can't make this shit up. Animal spirit guides. What message? Ooh, that was quick. We have flamingo spirit. Embrace the in-between. There's a transition going on. Embrace the in-between. Flamingo spirit, balance comes easily to flamingo spirit, who sees what was and what will be and stands strong in the face of uncertainty. You can be informed by what came before and plan for a future yet to be. But do not resist flamingo spirit's call to be fully present in the now, where the real magic happens. With one foot in the life, you're moving away from one and one in the future as you become the one who leads the life of your highest intentions. You make peace with the fact that you're not fully in either place. Embrace the in-between. The presence of flamingo spirit is also a sign that your creativity is arising within you and opportunities are beginning to present themselves. Remain here in the balanced state of mind, for there is much to know and learn before going forward with your new plans. You can trust this moment and yourself as you take in what you see and become aware of all that you are experiencing in this in-between time. If you're feeling nervous and wobbly, stop worrying about the past and the future. Instead, be present in the moment. Balancing, for now is a space in which creativity arises. Creativity is your birthright, but if you're moving too quickly in an attempt to avoid the discomfort of transition, you can blind yourself to the miraculous possibilities that are before you now and those just coming into being. The past has its lessons and planning has its merits, but right now you may be imbalanced because you're becoming too nostalgic for what once was or too anxious about what the future might hold. There is time to plan carefully. For now, be still and know that Spirit is here co-creating with you in this moment. The next step will appear when it needs to appear. Relax into a state of equanimity and balance, so any anxiety can transmute into trust and faith that all will be as it will be for the highest good. Well, Again, I can't make this shit up. And I sincerely hope this helps. I'll see you guys next time.